I've been asked to talk about Innocent, and for me it's quite an interesting story because there's been bits that we've got so right and have gone so well, and there's bits that we got so wrong, and we nearly lost the business over. And I think it's the latter half that is less well known. I think people in business in the UK have heard about the success of Innocent, but 2 years ago we nearly lost the company. So I was going to talk through today the experiences we've had, the things that have really helped, and the things that really hindered us. And I've kind of captured into sort of 5 things that we found to be true. To describe who I am, I would describe myself, I guess, these days as an entrepreneur. I remember the time when I decided I was going to become one. I was a 16-year-old guy living in Huddersfield, where I grew up, and I had a job working at the local dog biscuit factory. And my job that was assigned to me was to get down on my hands and knees and pick up the dog biscuits off the factory floor that had fallen off the conveyor belt. And it paid £2 an hour. And as I was on my sort of hands and knees picking up dog biscuits, I remember thinking to myself, this is definitely not a great job, that there's better jobs out there. But another thing about me is I'm quite hardworking and sort of always wanting to please and to do things well. So I went up to the foreman and said, look, I've been given this job and I could do it better if you let me a broom. Do you have a broom I could borrow? And he just looked at me, and I'll always remember this moment. He just looked at me in a really sort of deadpan way, just looked at me in the eyes and said, son, you are the broom. And I thought, being a broom for £2 an hour, there's a better way. So I left the dog biscuit factory that afternoon and then went back to the village where I grew up and came up with the idea of setting up a little gardening business called Two Men Went to Mow. And that was quite successful. That allowed me to sort of, rather than get paid £2 an hour at the dog biscuit factory, I was paying myself £2.50 an hour to mow people's lawns. And I got so much business that I could start employing my friends who were also in the dog biscuit factory. I paid them £2.25 an hour, whilst billing them at £2.50 an hour. So that was the first time I became an evil capitalist as well. But it's, the business of Innocent was set up by myself and my 2 closest friends, and I think that's one of the things that defines the company. We met at university as a group of 3 friends and did entrepreneurial things together. Adam and I used to DJ and organise club nights. John was the only guy that had a computer in his room, so we worked with him to design flyers. And through that experience of working together, we just had this rolling conversation about how much we'd love to set up a business together. And it just continued. It just went on and on and on. We talked about it for 7 years, and it was only on a snowboarding weekend 4 years after we graduated, where we were yet again having the same conversation. We said to each other, look, we've either got to stop talking about this or get on with it, and otherwise we're going to drive ourselves completely bonkers. And the idea for Innocent was born on that ski trip. And so we came back to the idea of setting up a smoothie company, and then spent evenings and weekends trying out smoothies, taking them in the next day to our places of work and just getting some sort of research together and see whether it was something that we could do. And eventually went about setting up the business full time, and that's gone from selling smoothies at an original market stall to now we're turning over £175 million this year. So it's definitely been it's been bigger and faster than we ever could have hoped. But as I said, there's been the stuff that we got right, and there's the stuff that we've got wrong. So today I'm going to talk about those 5 things. For me, I think if I could only have one thing, it would be this: is that we have increasingly come to understand what is a fundamental truth of any successful person, institution, organization, business. People, those entities will be led by a sense of purpose, a sense of mission, a clearly articulated reason of why they exist in the first place. And I am massively grateful for the sort of financial benefits of the business. Of course I am, but that's definitely not been the thing that's driven myself, Adam and John, and it's not been the thing that's driven the team. Having a purpose and a mission which guides us and motivates us has been the thing that's been getting us out of bed in the morning, and has also been the thing that's helped us make the decisions that we need to make along the last 13 years. If you know what it is that you're here to do, if you know that really simply and really succinctly, then it really helps you in the day-to-day decision-making process. Now, we learned that, of course, from businesses much better than ours. Any great business has typically got a very clear sense of why it's here and why it exists. Henry Ford used to talk about, he believed in the principle of personal freedom of movement. He said, I want man to be able to go wherever he goddamn wants, whenever he goddamn wants. And that was his motivation for the motor car. Now, of course, there was an absolute love of engineering and the pursuit of profit, but the thing that drove him to that whole endeavor in the first place was the idea of the personal freedom of movement. Skip forward 100 years, and Google, who were borderline obsessed with, because they set up in the same month of the same year as us back in 1999, and in the same period of time that we got to 175 million, they've got to 80 billion. So far they're beating us, but we reckon we can come back. And I think most people know this, right? It's very well known, isn't it, that they have a very simple sentence which sums up what Google's all about. And they say they exist to organize the world's information and make it universally available. And that one little sentence summarizes their entire business. It explains why they built the search engine, explains why they developed Google Earth, it explains why they bought YouTube. Everything is about organizing the world's information and making it universally available. From our industry, of the world of sort of food and drink, this is my favorite one. It's Walmart's. And that's a $250 billion company. And they say that's why they exist, to give ordinary folk the chance to buy the same things as rich people. And again, it's nailed that entire organization's strategy, motivation, raison d'etre. It explains why they were the first supermarkets to open up in the prairie lands of America to get to the rural poor. It explains when I'm in front of them, negotiating, the guy from Asda is just ferocious about getting the cheapest possible price. They've internalized the spirit and the sentiment of that, and they do everything they possibly can to get their prices down. And you can even get from the tone of the language, there's almost like a little bit of anger in there as well about that, that rich people are getting something that poor people can't. So I think it's massive. Of course, it costs absolutely nothing to have a sentence like that. But if you get it right, if it's congruent with what you actually believe and what your team believes, then it becomes the most powerful thing and a source of great value at zero cost. So we've always had it. In fact, we used to say, this is what, we exist to prevent this happening. We fundamentally believe in the benefits of natural, healthy, delicious food. We talk about helping people live well and die old. And living well is all about getting things that taste delicious to give a source of pleasure to people, but also natural, healthy food gives vitality. And the die old bit is, the fundamental truth is, a diet rich in fruit and vegetables is going to massively increase the chances of living longer.